everyone. So what we're going to be doing today is direct proportion. Okay, so we're going to be finding how to solve problems involving direct proportion. So if two quantities increase at the same rate, so if one is double, so does the other one, then we've actually got direct proportionality. So let's see, so Eddie's ice creams. So the cost of ice creams and the number of ice creams, obviously, they're directly proportional. As you can actually see, 2 ice creams cost twice as much as 1. 3 ice creams cost 3 times as much as 1, and so on. So this is a perfect direct proportion. So in an example shown, if C is the cost of ice cream and N is the number of ice creams bought, we write C proportional to N. So that symbol here, okay, means C is proportional to N. If two quantities are directly proportional, then their points lie on a straight line from the origin. In an example, the equation is C equals K times N, where the value of K would be what? Well, the value of K here would actually be the constant of 1.5. And what we're trying to do for the majority of these questions is actually find what would that constant K be equal to. So the question will say, here's two unknown variables. So you would have to write, first of all, C is proportional to N. Then C equals K times N. They would give you the value of C and they'll give you the value of N. And you need to find out what the value of K is and solve the problem. So let's have a look how the question can actually answer. The question can actually say to you that Y is directly proportional to X in 3 different ways. Y is proportional to X, the first one. Y varies as X, and Y varies directly as X. These all mean the same thing, okay? You'll get the questions and you're thinking, what are they asking me? These are the 3 ways they can actually ask you, okay? So strategy for solving these proportion problems. So find the value of K, okay? That is the main thing. We need to find the value of K. Use K together with the given values to answer the questions. So here's an example question. If Y is proportional to Z and Y equals 7 and Z equals 2. So the first thing you've got to write is you've got to write the relationship. So you write Y proportional to Z. Now, instead of this symbol, what could we possibly write down? Well, we could write Y equals to K times Z. So instead of this symbol, you write equals K. Okay, this is really, really important for us. You know the value of Y and you know the value of Z. The value of Y is 7, the value of Z is 2. So K must be 3.5. Really, really important that you actually write this. For a lot of the questions, part A isn't actually find the value of Y or find the value of Z, but it will ask you, what is the relationship between Y and Z? Between Y and Z. It's really, really important for you to write this, okay? Regardless if the question asks you or not. Those 3 dots stands for therefore. And then we can actually use that now. You know that Y is K times Z, so you know K is 3.5, so simply substitution. And same again for B. Substitution and you get 3. The main thing of this question is getting that first relation. What does it actually stand for? So, pause the video and try this question. So, if P is proportional to Q and P is 3 and Q is 12, find this. So, P is proportional to Q. Next step, P equals K times Q. Next step, substitute these values. Find K. So, K is 0.25. What do we need to do? Well, we need to first of all write the relationship between them. So, that is the relationship between them. Then we're going to use that relationship to find A by substituting 0.5 times Q, because Q is 30, and B, so therefore that gives us 72. Very, very easy question, but it's getting that begin relationship and getting this mark really, really important, the relationship between the 2 things. So, given that Y varies as X, fill in the missing value of this table. What would be the first thing you would have to do? We need to find out what I'm actually multiplying by. So, from the table, K must be 2.5 because it's 25 divided by K, because Y varies according to x. So therefore, if y is 25, x is 10, so therefore that's why k is simply 2.5. So all we've got to do is multiply everything by 2.5. Question 2 again, pause the video and try this. So these are the answers that you should have. Sorry. Continuing on. So again, pause the video please and try this question. So, the current I in a wire is proportional to the voltage V. I proportional to V. Next step. I equals kV. Done. Substitution. If I is 12 and V is 8, K is 1.5. The current, so simply, make sure you write a relationship between them. Substitution. Answer. So again, try this question for us. So, a mass M hangs from the end of a spring. The extension of the spring E is proportional to the mass. Really, really important, okay? If you spend some time and read this question, it says E is proportional to mass. So very, very important. They're trying to trick you putting the M first, but E is proportional to M equals Km. Find K, write the relationship between them, and simply use that. So you've got 11.25 and 8 kg. Continuing. Question involving squares and cubes. Now, if you're very lucky, you simply get y is proportional to x, but you might get y equals proportional to the square of x, y equals proportional to the square root of x, y equals proportional to the cube of x, and so on. So they all mean the same thing, okay? So we all start with this relationship. And then you simply put y equals kx squared, y equals kx cubed. Or if you square root, y equals k square root x, and so on. So again, pause this video and try this question. So, given that y varies directly as x squared, therefore y varies directly as x squared. Next line, y equals kx squared. Next line, substitution. So what they've done here, again, I usually do substitution, so I usually would have to do y is 12 equals to k times 2 squared, so 12 equals to k times 4, k equals to 12 over 4, k equals 3. But what they actually do here is they've rearranged first and then they substitute. It's the same thing. Y equals 3x squared. So continuing on, 75 and 4. Same again. The energy of a moving E is proportional to the square of its speed. If a body has 90 units, when is it moving at 3 meters per second? So again, difficulty finding the initial one. E is proportional to s squared. Substitution, rearrange it here. Substitution. Relationship. Two answers. 640 and 9. So question 6. The value V of a diamond is proportional to the square of its mass m. If a diamond with a mass of 5 grams is valued at 100 quid, find this. So V is proportional to the square of its mass m. So pause the video and try this question. Let's go through it. V proportional to m squared, km squared, rearrange, substitution, relationship, really important, A and B, 1,625 grams. Try this question now. Okay, so the previous was kind of an example. So the mass m of the sphere is proportional to the cube of its radius r. Okay, cube of its radius r. There we go. 2.4. Relationship. 2 solutions.